motorcycle thing. They're going like this. Rev it up. And so I rev it up for them. And anytime I drive by in the old Jeep, if I've got the dog with me, they want to pet the dog, you know. And so I asked them about a couple of weeks ago if they'd be interested in doing the pledge for us. And oh man, they were excited. I said, go get parents. Let's get, okays. So the parents came out. They were excited about it. Mark made invitations on cardstock. We took it by and gave it to each household. They're supposed to be here at 6 and they're not here yet. And I'm just saying, if they show up anytime, if we could just throw decorum in the trash can and let them say the pledge, that would mean the world to our community. They're doing, I don't know if they're doing everything right. They're doing everything that the business thinks right. They're having a good time during the summer. And so we've sent a policeman out there just to remind them, hey, look, y'all were supposed to be out there. But, they're probably, who knows, they may be in the river right now floating on something. I don't know. But if they do come in, just so y'all know,
we're going to jump on a good place.
It's going to be Thanks, y'all.
Just tell them if they see me driving by my Jeep and my dog in the passenger side, it might not be a good idea.
Well, like always, let's open it up with a prayer. Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. We ask that you bless us. We ask that you watch over our families and friends. We ask that you watch over our community, all of our city workers that we love and appreciate. We ask that all of our decisions tonight glorify your name, and we do everything in our power to make a better community. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. Mark, you want to mix things up on the agenda?
I do. We've got number 8 on your work session, a discussion of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Demorest to approve and authorize the mayor IGA to regulate and implement a floating homestead local option sales tax called FLOSS. And with that, I have asked County Manager Tim and Bill Sutton to come forth and show us a presentation like they've done on some other things. And so I'd like to have them move up first. Y'all can decide if y'all have questions and need them to stay for our meeting, or if they can be excused at that point. Okay. I appreciate it if y'all can do that.
Absolutely. So let's do that. It's under tab 6, guys, is that presentation. Y'all have it when you get it pulled up and talk about it?
Yep.
Okay.
You just stand at that.
Y'all just stay wherever you're at, wherever you're comfortable with.
Whatever.
Easy. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you for having us. So we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. This House Bill 581 started in the legislature 2 years ago. They came up with the homeowners taxpayer freezes they did on the cities, and everybody opted into it. All the cities in the county opted in on that. So they have, because we have opted in on it, we are now allowed to go for a flexible local option sales tax. I was just on a webinar yesterday, and the State Department of Revenue is now calling it a property tax rollback lost instead of floss. So I don't know what terminology they're going to end up on, but it's basically to roll back the taxes for whatever sales tax we got in. It really works like the local option sales tax that the school board gets. So the state legislature, but by us opting into House Bill 581 to keep the property assessments frozen, or at the no more than the 3% increase every year, we're allowed to do this sales tax. So all the cities through our HC3 meetings, we hired Phil to come and do a analysis of all of this to kind of give us what that would be and what that would look like for Habersham County and all the municipalities. And with the latest tax digest, and Phil will show you in just a minute all of his calculations, that could be a 3.608 millage rollback. Don't hold me to that number, but he'll show it in a minute. And that would be come off of our taxes. So the legislator this year then went back in and clarified some things and added some new legislation to that House Bill 581 and Senate Bill 33, which just kind of clarified some different legal issues. But the original bill was going to allow us to collect for a full year before we then gave it back to the citizens. Well, in House Bill 33, now you have, if you start your floss in January and you collect through June, you have to use those. It will really be 5 months of collections because they're in 1 month arrears. So you will be able to use 5 months of those revenues to then offset next year's millage rate. It won't be the full amount that of a whole year, but it'll be a partial.
Well, we're on a calendar year budget.
Mhm.
So would that mean we would be able to use the full year or just that 6 months?
It'll be like for the count with the tax year. So like next year's taxes that come out in fiscal year, in June of next year, however you use that, however your cash flow works. Now ours is July to June.
Since this is collected on a fiscal year,
Right.
that's the reason, even though we're on a calendar year budget,
So then,
we only use the fiscal year.
right. So you'll be able to use that 6 months or 5 months worth of revenue against your 2027 tax calendar year. And then the next year you'll have a whole 12 months to use. And it'll just continue on for that if the voters approve it. So I'm going to turn it over to Phil to do that. And we're going to go through that presentation.
Thank you, Tim. This microphone works?
Happy right.
Okay. You might want to take a look at the screens as I'm going through this. It may help you, just follow along. If we could go to the next slide. Okay. This is, let me talk just a moment about the whole bill. This is House Bill 581. It was really a four-part bill. We're going to spend most of our time talking about flaws, but just to give it a little bit of context, this bill was originally put out to do four different things. One was straighten out some tax assessors' rules, that the tax assessors were following a certain set of rules that they were required to follow by state law. But the state auditors had a different set of rules that they were required to follow by state law. And so one of the bigger things that this tax reform package did was straighten out those rulings. And so we're avoiding some of the conflict that we've traditionally had between, especially the sales tax ratio studies were different rules followed by local governments versus the state government. So it straightened that out. Second part of it, the legislation authorized this floating base property tax value, which is how the state talks about the homestead exemption. The homestead exemption actually is a placement of a base year, that the value of your homestead is going to be based on 2006 value. And it can't increase more than CPI off of that base year homestead value. And so you'll hear that term of base year. Just want to explain what that means. The second part of that is, the next part is the legislation simplified the local option sales tax caps, and there's moved it from a 9-cent cap to from an 8-cent cap to a 9-cent cap. And the fourth piece of the legislation actually allows for a local resolution to implement this flexible local option sales tax, or as Tim says, the state's referring to it now as a property tax. Did you want your guests to come in and do what they were supposed to do?
Y'all ready? You sure?
Voice is not.
This is about a third of the group, but it's a powerful third. Okay, come on up whenever you're ready. All right. Now, we're going to stand and we're going to face the flag And I know y'all can do this because you did it for me and Bailey and the Jeep. So, whenever you're ready.
Go ahead. You start it, honey.
Which one?
The Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm scared.
Okay, let's go. Pledge of
I
Allegiance
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job.
You're welcome.
And y'all don't have to stay any longer. Now, let me tell you, these guys right here, I told you earlier, they do everything right for the summer. They're having a good time, and they'll go back to Demorest Elementary.
No, these two
Fairview.
are going to
Fairview?
That's all middle school.
Which one?
South.
South. That's a good one. I was there for a long time. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for coming. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Continue on. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so there's a couple of things to keep in mind. This homestead exemption keeps property values at at the base year price, can only increase based on the CPI. That's for the cities because the cities didn't have a prior homestead exemption freeze. The county has had a freeze for many, many years, decades probably. And so that county freeze is better for the residents, and so that stays in place for the county. There's next slide, please. The next is there's a new 9% limit on local option sales tax. You've got the base 4 cents that the state has, and for many years we've had loss, or in Haversham case, e-loss, is that local option sales tax goes to the school system, and SLOSS. Those two have been around for also decades. More recently, there's an education e-SLOSS for capital projects, just like the city and the county has SLOSS. There's also transportation SLOSS that's available to you if you put it to the voters and the voters approve it. And then the third bucket is FLOSS. And you can have a FLOSS or a property tax relief loss is what the state is now calling it. You can have that as long as you don't have an O lost, a C splost, or a most. And those, the first two, O lost and C splost, you have to be a consolidated government, so there's very few of those. And most, that only applies to the city of the Atlanta and the 4 cities that are connected to their water system. It's a water system sales tax. Okay. So let's talk about FLOSS. This is limited to up to 1 cent, and it can be levied in increments. You don't have to do a penny, but I don't know of any jurisdiction that hasn't done the full penny. It's split between the cities and the county based on the intergovernmental agreement. You have to have a float or freeze in place. And of course, when the bill first came out, you had the option to opt out. Now you no longer have that option. So everybody that opted out is now opted back in because of Senate Bill 33. There has to be an intergovernmental agreement that's approved by the county and the cities that represent at least 50% of the population. The local option sales tax requires that intergovernmental agreement. And in the intergovernmental agreement, it states that FLOSS can only be used for property tax relief. And the state's dead serious about that. If there are some cities that could possibly go negative, so to speak, you can't go negative. And if you do, because it's possible, if you had a very big year of sales tax collection and you were very close to that zero, And there's a form that the state will require that you fill out that records how much more sales tax collections you have, and you have property tax expenses to cover it, and you keep track of that. And the state's
It's just gonna be held in a separate account.
it's called a 109. In your case, it's a 109M,
So if it,
109C.
so if it goes negative, that those funds can be used to reduce a future
Correct.
millage. Okay.
That's right.
What could it not be used for, like debts or?
No, you can't use, you can use it for debts if you finished all your projects, but it can't be used for anything but property tax rollback,
Okay.
nothing else. And it says that 4 or 5 times, maybe 6 times in the law.
In the original law, does it say anything about what we could use that money for? Like, we use it for operations, we use it for police and all of these things that the city operates on, correct? Or is there a limit of what we can't spend it on?
No.
Only the
It's in that regard. It's the property tax, it's to replace your property tax. So anything you could have spent property tax on, you can spend floss on. It's a replacement. We're gonna put it in this pocket, we're gonna put it over in this pocket.
Okay, I was just making sure that we didn't have to
No,
what we spend it on, like slots.
no, it's just a general fund revenue source, just like property tax.
Okay.
Use it exactly that same way. Good, very good question. Okay, the renewal is interesting. It renews every 5 years. In order to initiate the renewal, you have to have the state legislature submit a home rule bill. It has to be authorized by the General Assembly before you can have the next referendum. So I'd suggest you all start working on that about 4 years into it. Get ready, get the legislative delegation to submit that home legislation, and then you can get your referendum done on time. But it has to be done every 5 years.
But that's gonna be a countywide vote.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
So Tim's gotta start getting that thing ready.
Tim's got to get that ready.
I didn't want anybody.
I-
This was a city.
My guess is that you're going to want to support him in that.
That's right.
The distribution of the funds are collected after the vote. You have to wait 50 days, but in the first calendar quarter after 50 days is when the collections begin. So the November vote, the next quarter after 50 days is January 1st. It starts January 1st. So it's a little different than all the other local option sales tax that you're used to, SPLOS, T-SPLOS. They have an 80-day wait, 50-day wait. And so it'll start January 1st if you are successful in the referendum. The proceeds will be placed in an escrow fund, and the law actually tells you how to name that escrow fund, Mark. So it has to be named, it has a particular name. And then you,
What would the funds even get this? I mean, at that point, is it held by the county or state?
it can be, no, it won't be held by the state. It'll be distributed to the county every 30 days, at the end of every month. It's about, they usually get the check about the 25th of the month.
Will the county distribute it like one time a year?
No, we're actually gonna do 15 months like doing SPOS proceeds.
Okay.
We get them, maybe 10 days after we get them through our system, and we do the wire transfer to your account.
Okay.
We get them around the 15th, 16th month of the current spots.
And so the first year will be a little different than the following years. The first year, you have to take the collections that you received by July 1st. And as Tim said, you'll have about 5 months. You will have 5 months of collections by July 1st. And you use that to reduce your property tax the following tax year. And your question earlier uh, was good. The taxes are always on a calendar year, even though, the county's on a fiscal year, you're on a calendar year for you. It doesn't make any difference. That tax uh, year is a calendar year, so it happens to match up well with your calendar year budgeting.
But
So
for,
you don't have to change when do your millage rate setting.
but like for us, it's gonna be like the first 6 months of the year. The first year would be a lower rollback than presumably years after
That's
that
right.
first year.
You'll
Okay.
you'll get a 5/12 of that rollback that
Gotcha.
first year, and then the following year, you'll get the full rollback amount. It gets you started a little earlier than the old law would have allowed. So it's probably beneficial for your citizens. Okay. The next slide, please. I just want to hit some of the details with you. Uh, FLOSS, the main aim of FLOSS, in fact, the only purpose is to provide property tax relief by reducing the millage rate levied on all property or by the proceeds that are available in the beginning and July 1st of each year. So every year, you'll find out what the proceeds are that have been accumulated over that year. As of July 1st, that's the amount that you're going to have available for property tax rollback. Now, it doesn't restrict how you set your millage rates. But if you set the millage rate so low that it becomes, you get excess funds from the sales tax, they don't allow excess funds at all. So you have to report those, and the only way you can get them out of that account is by doing property tax rollback with those funds. And the state has figured out how they're going to manage that, and it's with a form they call 109M. The benefits, of course, is that as far as the amount of the benefit is you've made the decision to go 1 full percent, which all the governments that have opted into to FLOSS have used 1%. The duration is for 5 years, as I said, and the voters must approve the next FLOSS in 5 years after the state legislature has authorized you to have that next tranche of. This just gives you an idea. I just use the county as an example of how much the rollback sort of moves the county's property tax. You can see now the county's levying 12.5 mills. The negotiated amount would result in a 3.608 mil reduction to the county and all the cities. Everybody gets the same millage rate reduction. And so in the county's case, that moves them from sort of above the middle of the pack. Those are all the counties in the state. Actually, the bars represent all the counties in the state, and it shows you where the millage rates stand. And so it moves them from just above the upper half to the lower 25%. So it's quite a significant decrease.
Where approximately are we, is this county on that bar graph?
You see the red line there? It's at the 58th percentile. So right now, we're just above the halfway mark. And if FLOSS gets implemented, that rollback will bring Habersham County down to the lowest 25th percentile.
But all the other counties below us too are also gonna shift,
If they
presumably.
If they approve.
Certainly many of them will. There's 39 that have, there's about 39 counties that have it. that have voted for it. And there was, in the last election, there was 8 additional counties. So that's probably brought it up to about 40. It will bring it up to about 44, 40, 45. And we don't really know exactly how many counties are going to opt in to have the resolution.
This is not adjusted for ELOT, for us not having ELOS where all the other ones are, right?
No.
So we're probably a little bit further down.
If we would have adjusted it for the fact that you don't get lost, yes, and I've done that in the past when I was county manager. Tim may do that with his board too, to show them where they would be if they got lost. So this is, that's a very good point. This sort of gives us back our lost in Habersham. So if you can go to the next slide. There's 4 documents that have to be approved or that have had to been prepared. One is the intergovernmental agreement, which is making its rounds to all the cities. There's a resolution that goes along with that that allows the council approves the mayor to sign the intergovernmental agreement, and the county commission has the same similar resolution. And then the county commission has to call for the election. They have to call for that election by about August 1st. It's, if you actually count the numbers, it's August 5th. But you need to make sure it makes it actually in the newspaper and advertised full 90 days before the election. So got to make it into the paper by that August 5th date. So I recommend you get it in the hands of the newspaper before August 1st. And included within both the resolution and the intergovernmental agreement is the ballot wording, which is very simple. It's basically, do you want to authorize a 1-cent sales tax in order to roll back property tax? So, we go to the next slide. This is the schedule. I know it's difficult to read, but what it goes through is we've had our discussions really over the last 2 years. In about May, the city and the counties had, the county and the cities had an H3C meeting where they discussed and decided on the distribution method of FLOST. We prepared the resolution, the IGA, the call for the election, and the voters' advertisements have all been prepared. And this month, those documents are making their rounds through the cities. And the schedule is that on July 20th, the county commission will approve the IGA and and basically ratify all the cities.
So this schedule pretty much means that we've got to make a decision tonight whether we're going to approve this IGA. We can't delay it.
Yes, sir. We need, so the call for the election has to be to the election superintendent, the last week of this month, so that they can get the advertisements in the newspaper the first week of August. And then there'll be 4 advertisements during the month of October each week for those 5 weeks preceding the election. And then early voting begins on October 13th, and the referendum official vote date is November 3rd. If it gets approved on November 3rd, then it becomes effective January 1st, 2027, and it will expire December 31st, 2031.
If it was to fail, is there a time frame before it can be brought back up?
There isn't one in the law. I think that they're sort of anxious that the state is very much encouraging this loss. I mean, this is one of those things that the state General Assembly has been promising to roll back property tax. And as you all know, they don't have property tax, you do. And so in order for them to make this promise, they want to encourage as much as possible the cities and the counties to participate.
So I know it's not in the scope of your discussion today, but as far as, LHOS, is that a separate, that would be presumably if this passes, that would be a separate vote next year on that, or is there even a public vote on that?
No.
It's just,
No, you can't, well, for one thing, L-host is off the table because it doesn't exist. Because the state legislature didn't approve it. They would have had to approve it this last session. And they were about 40, no, there were 94, 98 bills that were put in front of the legislature. They were all voted down.
So really, this is the one thing that we have to get some type of property tax relief.
Right, this is the only thing we have. Now, could
Could
it,
I might add, in addition, that LHOST was only going to help people that had homestead exemptions. It wouldn't help people, all the property owners, it was just help that little category that had homestead exemptions. So the floss is a little more transparent and helps everyone, so just the homestead.
But FLOSS also helps some of the larger companies,
Sure.
commercial, whereas EHOS, I don't know the exact names right, would have just only benefited those who
Residents.
are residents and pay homestead,
Yeah.
homestead.
had to first be applied to homestead exempt properties. Then if there was any left over after that was done, then it could be applied to other properties. So, but yes, the FLOST is beneficial to homestead, rental residents, industrial, commercial, agricultural, anybody that pays property tax will have their property tax rolled back with FLOST. So L-host, just going back to L-host, I know there's some discussion that L-host might be reintroduced, that some governments will try to reintroduce that bill. Those bills, again, I'm not sure that anything different will happen the second time. It was pretty resounding no by the folks that were in the legislature that were voting against
They
it.
put their eggs in this basket.
Yeah, that's right. And so you can't have both. You know, you could have one or the other if it was available, but it's not available at this point. This is a 5-year projection of the revenue that we expect that the county will collect from this floss to be, I'm estimating about $62 million. That's looking back for the last 15 years of sales tax history and projecting it out for the next 5 years. So I've found with many jurisdictions, this tends to be a pretty, if I go back to 2010, it's a fairly reliable, it's never exact, but it's a pretty reliable estimate. We could go to the next slide. This is the meat of the agreement that you have in front of you. This is the way it's distributed between the cities and the county is based on that first column of numbers, the property tax digest M&O value. You take all the digest from each city and the county, add it together, and divide it by the denominator. And what that does is if you go to the third to the last column, it gives you a rollback for each jurisdiction that's exactly the same. It's a 3.608 mil rollback. And so looking at Demorest, taking your digest of 339 million, your millage rate, I'm sorry, that was Cornelia. Demorest is 73 million. Your millage rate's about 6.593. Property tax generated with that amount is 482,000. You'd receive 264,000 in lost revenue. So then you would need to make up the 208,000 by the remaining property tax levy. So the rollback is 3.6, it would leave you with a millage rate of about 2.985 in order to generate that amount of money to keep you whole.
And that's based on the first collection, the first year of this, where it's only the partial, 5 months.
No, this is an
This is
annual,
what it would
these
be.
are annualized
This is
numbers.
what it would be if it was annualized.
This is annualized number. So the rollback will be, 5/12.
Go higher than that.
Yeah, that first year you get a partial rollback. You may be able to roll back, $1.5 million, a little more than that, 1.8 mils, I guess, somewhere around that level.
So with values fluctuating over the years, every year that will change. Like if a new complex is built in Cornelia, let's say, and it's a $40 million complex, then their value calculation.
This is set for the next 5 years. And so you'll look at it again in 5 years.
Now, when I look at our current SPOS,
So you can change your millage rate there.
Yeah.
But
This is
split,
percentage distribution
Yes.
stays as it is now.
in our new SPOS that's gonna be April 1st, we did that one for 6 years, and it's roughly $75 million. Isn't that right? All right, if I take the 62, the $264,000, and you divide that per year, that's roughly $22,000 a month. And I'm averaging right now $30,000 to $36,000 a month with our current SPOS. Why is that number projected so much lower than what our 1 cent SPOS is currently?
The method of distribution is different.
Okay.
You're using, I don't recall exactly what the method. The method of distribution in this case is the digest.
I guess SPOS is going off our percentage of population then.
Yeah, I think
Putting the new digest together, it was a combination of formulas to get to that distribution.
it was a pretty complicated formula.
And you said on here, we're taking the city's digest and doing what with the county's digest, 2.1? How did we come up with our 2.49% of distribution?
2.49% is how much of the total 100% Demorest is receiving. And it's based on the property tax digest of $73,000 divided into the total. So in every case, we're dividing the tax digest of each jurisdiction in the total sum of the tax digest of all the
Was it
jurisdictions.
2.9?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I follow you.
Okay. So if we flip over to the next page, this just is same information, but it's just allowing you to concentrate on the change in the property tax digest from what it is currently, the rollback, the new digest, and the percentage savings. And you see it, Demers, the percentage reduction you're getting in the city is 54.3% of your millage rate, whereas the county is getting a 28% reduction. So because you have a lower millage rate, or you have a lower digest amount, you get a higher percentage reduction. So it's actually benefiting the smaller cities. If you're the county, Cornelia, Baldwin, Clarksville, the percentage reduction's much smaller than yours is. That makes sense? So let me go to the next slide. This just shows you based on, this is just a graph that shows the same information graphically. So it shows you what the current millage rates are, the reduction of 3.6 mils, and the new millage rate. I won't dwell on that. The next slide, this shows you, based on the average property value of of a residential property is $350,000 in Habersham. So if the tax assessors value that at 40%, so the taxable value of that $350,000 residence is, or building of any kind, for that matter, just it, it has a taxable value of $140,000. And so when we look at each jurisdiction, looking at it from the jurisdiction's perspective, how much does that reduce uh, each city and each county? At that level, at $140,000 taxable value, your savings to the taxpayer would be $505 for every jurisdiction. Now, if you're looking at it from the taxpayer's point of view, because the taxpayer in Demorest pays the county tax and the city tax, so that's a $550 or $505 reduction of the county tax plus another $500 off the city tax. So the city residents will see a $1,010 decrease for that value of property. Now, if the property value is higher, they save more. If the property value is lower, they save less. That's just
From a taxpayer perspective, during this 5-year period, if a buyer buys a property that's not homestead exemption and they go to file for it, would they still fall under this? Would it come off the rolls?
No, that's a great question. In L host, you have that problem. You don't have that here. In Floss, you're still getting a rollback because it's not based on the home. You have to have a homestead exemption to qualify for this. That doesn't really have anything to do with the distribution. Because the savings applies to homesteads, rental, residential rental, business, agricultural, commercial, industrial,
Across the board.
across the board. So the fact that you have a homestead exemption or don't have one personally doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
It's that you as a government have this, have opted in to the limitation of the.
Which is why
growth of the
we're
digest.
so low on the total of the digest, so compared to some of the other cities.
That makes sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you.
Okay, flip to the next slide. That shows you the same information graphically, shows you that $505 decrease based on that $350,000 average home. And that's for each jurisdiction. The next slide shows you the $1,010 decrease for the property owners in the city for that value of property. I just picked, what the average residence home value is. Next slide. Next one. Okay, this is from the last November's election. There were 39 counties that held lost. All but 4 of them passed. And so you had 35 counties that passed SPLOST. There were 2 the prior March, that was Thomas County and Washington County. So at last November, there would have been 37 counties. This past May 19th, there were about 8 more counties that passed it. So we're now up to about 44, roughly 44 counties that have it.
So how many counties did it fail in?
4.
4.
Mr. Sutton, why do you think it built in some of these counties?
I can tell you, I don't want to air any dirty laundry, but I don't know what happened in Ware County down in South Georgia, but in Union, there was sort of organized opposition. I think that there wasn't strong support by the I think that there didn't start out being strong support initially. And the others, Floyd and Pauline, were very, very late to the party. They started they made their decision at the absolute last minute. And I don't think that they had their campaign, their educational piece wasn't together. So,
They were really close though, like 48 to 50, 48% in Floyd, yes, 52 against. Paulding was 49, yes, 51% no. So,
yeah, if you can go to the next slide and see what the councilman's looking at. So that's the results of that last November's election. And you can see there's a lot of strong wins. There was, and the earlier slide shows you Cloquet County won at 81%. There's, I'd say more than half of those counties were above 70% wins. So there were some very strong wins. Also, this time around, a lot of, uh, 3 of them were over 70%, and the other 3 were in the 60s, there was 1 in the 50s. Doherty County, they didn't think they would win it at all. Doherty County has 61% of the population renters. So they really weren't all that confident. But do you have any questions?
Let me put together a little brochure that you might want to take with you that I think the county would probably use, and you can use this maybe from both to explain it to people. Because it's obviously
A little bit complicated.
Send them back.
So back to you, bro.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
Guys, do we have any questions that Phil or Tim?
I was just gonna say, we have planned to do a campaign to educate the citizens. As you know, we can't advertise for any kind of vote for this, but we can educate the folks. And so what we'll be doing is similar to what we did with SPLY, setting up a few town halls and try to get the different civic groups around to let us do presentations and things of that nature. Probably starting late August and running through October, to kind of keep it fresh on everybody's mind. And we may try to call it property tax reduction laws, like the state started doing, because that kind of sounds better than flies. And do that. So I'll be reaching out to you guys to help me with some of those presentations and things of that nature. But my public information officer is already working on some presentations for that. We'll probably need to work in conjunction with our development authority and our chamber of commerce to help advertise it for us, like we did last time, and like the school board did with the East Blast this past May. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know that.
Thank y'all. But do y'all need them to stay? All right, so thank y'all very much. Tim
thank you.
who has passed it so far?
Cornelia and Baldwin, I believe. It's all that I've heard from for sure.
Okay.
The rest of them are, I think there's another couple tonight and then it'll be next week.
And I'll,
Everybody said that they would have it done by the 20th for our meeting.
okay. And I'll touch base with you tomorrow.
All right,
Thank y'all for coming.
thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick just said it passed in Tallulah just a few minutes ago. So.
Thank you.
thank you. All right.
Breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to discussion of GoGov contracts. Mark, what?
We have done, when you go to it, there's gonna be 2 of them there. In there, the one that's dated July 9th is the one from today with some more wiggle room. And what we've done is we've got the $10,000 to the 10,000 credits still in there. And if you scroll all the way down, the number 8 on the contract form there, he broke out the cost for additional credits if we need, using that $400 as per these 10,000 credits. So it's in there. If we want to add more, that's what it would cost us. And So Jerry and I have talked about it several times, Megan and I, and, so our price has come down considerably from the first time. And, so we are looking forward to this coming on board and being a true use for the citizens and for the city. And so if y'all see that benefit, I would ask y'all to approve it, but if y'all want to let it pass, we'll find something else. It's another option.
If we do pass it, I would like to see some, offers for people, and educational opportunities for people to come to City Hall, or you go out somewhere to educate people.
Sure, that's a great
Because, I mean, the older population may not use that
Sure.
as much as
Yeah, it's
but
all
they
about
could get the
what
same benefit. But it would behoove some type of education, like you can go out to the senior center, which is down the street, and have some kind of class to help some of the seniors sign up and how to use the app.
Yep. And I would ask for the 5 of y'all to be the first to attend the class, so that y'all are using it.
I'm
And
not
it's,
a senior yet.
I didn't say that. But just on the educational classes, so that you're selling it out there too. So, no, that's good. Great point. Because I would say that Kevin, who I've been dealing with, he does a very good job with his Zoom call. So we definitely can set those up for the different groups. So thank you for that, Sean.
Yeah, well, I've called just a few random people about this, kind of talked to a few people, just informal straw poll on that. And that's kind of the one thing that I got from that, is they saw the benefit of this, but there needs to be some kind of educational or some help for some of the older people on how to set it up, how to download an app.
Yep.
How to use it, notifications, and
to follow back up for it. So yes.
and to just use it and what they can use it for.
So the notifications through the app is different than a text message, right?
Just like any app you get
Okay.
now, you can turn it on and
You
turn
can
it
turn it
off.
on and turn it off. Okay, so
Yeah.
you don't have to text like we do now. You just send out
We're just
app
gonna send you-
notifications.
That's right.
So it's up to them. If they don't receive it, you turn it on. Okay.
That's why it'd be important to help people,
Right.
provide assistance from people on how to use this, so that they
That's
get
right.
the proper notifications that they would need.
Right.
And the key is when you if y'all go to make a motion, just make sure you put in there your July 9th contract. So something doesn't get mixed up with the June 3rd.
Guys, don't have any more questions about that? Talked about it for a while.
So the code enforcement case management is for our code enforcement officer?
It could, it
Okay.
would be, but it's also for you as a citizen. Snap a picture, send the address, location, and that would go to that person. And then it will keep them informed as different things are done by the code enforcement officer. So it's easy to keep up with, where they don't have to call me. They can go back on there and look at it to see what is progressed on that.
So once you download the app, everybody go to Andrew's house, see if you need to take a picture.
Hey, just bring them on more. Help cut the grass. You know? I mean,
All right, thank you for that.
All right, let's move on to approval of the,
All right, if you'll pull that one up.
of the invoice. No, the booster card.
All right.
Sorry, tab 2.
All right, this is one of the items that we discussed at the last retreat. And if you go to the second page there, you will see the items that are on that list. And this one is on there for the 22.5. And so we're just going for approval for that check amount, because we had approved all these through our budget amounts. I just wanted y'all to see this because Fletcher and Rick are gonna be here in August or September, because we've got on the books all these items that we're gonna be working through, and let him explain these again. And the same thing on the sewer with those items also. So
Is this a capital outlay or?
this was a capital outlay.
If one of these were to go down, do we have a backup?
We do not have the backup at this time. We'll have to do like we did on the two pump stations. And, but as we're working through each of these, they will, one for each different size will be rebuilt
Uh,
and you put on the shelf for that
okay.
as we're doing that.
Very good. Any questions? Next, let's move on to emergency purchase of the trailer for the water plant.
All right. You'll see here on the printout of Bigfoot Trailers, it's the name brand, and $11,924. And that check was written and paid, and you can see what the trailer looks like. It's very heavy duty as it tilts like this once they drive the Bobcat or the backhoe up on it. And it's got its strengths to carry the heavy equipment like that. The axles and that have a 10-year warranty on them. And Brian said it was actually perfect for what they were looking for and for long-term need for them.
And the trailer that we were using is no good.
What happened was somebody basically jackknifed it a while back, and it's been welded and re-welded. And Brian just said he's got some concerns of how that tongue was re-welded on there, and he just doesn't feel comfortable putting that heavy load on there since we couldn't make this purchase.
Is it gonna be repurposed for anything or?
It will be, and it will be used for lighter weight items.
All right. Very good. That is $11,924. All right. Next up is cemetery rules.
In part, what this is about, or how this came up, is a lady came in with the deed from 1952, and the executor of the will is also passed, plus the person has passed, and there's still 5 plots left in there, but it didn't name her as somebody that can go in those sites. But she's saying, it's my family, I want to go in. We don't have anything that says she is, she's not. They don't want her there, have no idea. So that's when I contacted Thomas and said, what's our options? I'll let him take it from there.
This is basically a supplement to your current ordinance regarding these things. And this applies in a very specific and probably very unusual circumstance, but the purpose of these is to protect the city. In the event we have a situation like this where there's a situation like Mark just described, and there's no reason to deny the person the right to be buried there, but in order to protect the city from other folks coming along later and claiming shouldn't have happened, this provides the city with those. It requires that person to provide information to at least verify that they've tried to reach other heirs, that they don't know of any objection to them being buried there, and then providing indemnification if the city ever gets sued. Frankly, if the city ever gets sued, that person will probably be gone. So, and I'm not sure if that's really going to be that much protection, but at least it's a protocol to follow in this circumstance.
So in this particular this specific circumstance that we have here, walk me through the steps that would happen for this person affected if we were to pass this.
Well, there's a form that's attached at the end that she would be required to fill out in a hold harmless agreement. And basically, she would fill out that form, name, address, give the information regarding the lot, give information regarding family history, why she is an heir, or why she thinks she's entitled to be there. Identify any living family members, if there are any that may have some knowledge, and she verifies that she's at least tried to contact them if they want to catch. And then some and basically some contracts you call representations and warranties. Basically, she's saying that she knows that she provided this affidavit to induce the city to allow her to be buried in the lot, and she's not
So that's our protection, because we're taking her word on this, and we're not actively searching ourselves for any. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do this in a way that didn't create a administrative burden. It puts the onus on the person.
Very good. Any other questions? All right. Let's move on to Court Clerk Services.
All right.
5.
We're having, y'all may know that Casey had gone to City of Clarksville and talked to the police chief, Danny, over there, because they have an excellent lady, Sam, who is their court clerk. And he was kind enough, the city was kind enough to let us borrow Sam while we were in a pinch without a court clerk. She knows our same system. They use the same. We all have the same judge, so everybody was familiar with it, and we didn't skip a beat as soon as the other person had resigned. And basically, she was going to be a full-time employee for them, as she is for her benefit purposes. We're going to reimburse them each month for half of her cost to the city of Clarksville. And so she has a cell phone, an email of Demorest, and the calls from anybody who needs to talk to Demorest court clerk will be sent to her number, and she will be able to answer the phone there in the city of Clarksville and handle our business, because it's one of those situations where she was doing multiple things, but this will help fulfill her job description of the 40 hours between us and Clarksville. So
The hours like split evenly.
Yes.
Scheduled hours split
Yes.
evenly between Clarksville and us.
and she will be here. The only day she will be physically be here, unless there's a need, will be on the court date. And the court date means the second Wednesday of the month, 12 o'clock, 12:30 in this room. So it has worked out very well. Casey, James, would y'all agree with that? And Sam? All right, y'all recall, and I'll talk about the success of GCIC in courts during my report. A lot of success there. Julie, the interim, had sent me this, and then Thomas.
Is she still gonna be working? I mean, this is title is municipal clerk, but is she still gonna be working in GCIC?
She has nothing to do with that.
Has nothing to do with that.
Not unless there's an emergency or something. So she is strictly, because you have to have a court clerk.
Okay.
And then Rachel is the GCIC
Lead.
tech.
Okay.
Am I saying that right?
Ag is actually attacked, right?
Tech clerk, okay. Amy is, okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, yes. And see, that was the difference of them being separated with the court being down the hall here. So it has been an excellent situation, and hopefully we'll approve this, and then I'll be sending this over to Clarksville. But I really appreciate the kindness that they've offered, just like when they loaned us the garbage truck 2 different times. And we told them whatever we can do to repay you. You need something, y'all get them. So it's a good partnership.
Does their council have to pass something similar? Or
Yes.
is their mayor just authorized?
I would say their council,
The council has to pass it.
because right now, Mayor Franklin Brown is kind of running the city along with Julie as the interim.
Very good. Great solution. All right. We already completed number 8. Discussion of adding uses, exhibit C, table 7.1 zoning ordinance. What do you have on this?
Well, that was the homework assignment
Mhm.
we had given y'all. Did anybody come up with some? You weren't here to get it though, so you don't. You're excused.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Yeah. And so if this is just bringing it back up in case we wanted to change or modify the uses.
I don't have anything new, but reserve the right to, in the future, unique circumstances, just like what we had.
Yep.
That prompted this,
Yep.
to make any kind of adjustments to this.
Anybody else? Next is discussion of Tallulah Falls wholesale water rates.
And this is we just got the letter dated July 1st from EMI, and it's just going up on their water rates because effective July 1st, Toccoa went up on our water rate. So that is, it's just we all know each July 1st and each January 1st between Baldwin and Toccoa, the rates will be raised by the projected CPI. And this is under the same scenario.
And once again, we're just passing those along.
That's right.
So it goes into effect with their next billing cycle if we pass this.
It goes into effect July 1st.
July 1st. This is retro to July 1st for them because our rates were effective July 1st.
That's right.
What made,
We haven't implemented any rates increases.
and their billing cycle, and when do we bill them?
Rhonda, do you?
Rhonda, what cycle is this on? Do you know?
Tallulah Falls.
They go out the 15th.
Well, the 15th, so that's about
Yes,
a
sir.
week. Is that doable for the next billing cycle?
I would think that we would notify them first before we.
I had it. We'll send them this notice.
So maybe,
I believe it's in our contract too.
We have-
I don't know where it is.
okay.
Would you mind elevating the,
Ronnie, can you move the
scroll down on that for us? Thank you. All right, next is discussion of the city parking lots, the RFP. Mark, what have you put together?
We work very closely with James Irving and Foothills Land Design and with Thomas. And this would go out tomorrow. And we will be giving folks a 45-day bid period. And that would end on August 21st at 11 a.m. with a opening date of the bids. We also have a local preference statement in there that if you reside, your business located here in Havisham with 5%, you could match another. If a bid was lower than we like, doesn't mean we're going with the lowest bid, we're going with the best bid. And so you can scroll through this, it has a section for each thing, but this is a standard boilerplate document just with inputted with what our plans are that James did with our information. And there will be requirements about being bonded, insurance. It's on Prep 2 on page 5, and all their information they'll have to bid to include to show that they're qualified to do this job. It's got 120 days, depending on weather. It could be a 60 to 90 day period, and there's a $500 a day penalty if we so choose to implement. So I feel like between James and myself and Thomas, we've covered all the bases on this. And again, if you think about a timing, it's 45 days just to get the bid, and then they've got 60 days to show up and be on site.
And up to 120 days to complete.
Completed.
So we're looking at, if this passes, if no delays, the earliest the project can start would be.
So let's just say so it'd be October 21st, with 60 days. And 120 days will put you November, December, January, February. But we still have to get the approval for the bond. And Thomas is working on that. And this won't be have started before we have that. But we can at least go ahead and have the bid in hand. See what I'm saying? And so, because when the post office starts, there's going to be 6 months for them to do their build out. So we're perfectly going to be aligned in that.
We'll be financing this and paying back the finance with the rental income that comes.
That's correct. That is correct.
Thomas, with this consideration on the regular session, do we need a vote for this RFP to go out, or since it's not?
No, I think it's.
Okay.
Again,
Y'all will know when the bids come in.
Of course, they accept or deny the bids.
and I like to bring these things back to y'all just so everybody hears it, and the public hears the same thing. And so,
Very good. All right. Is that everything that we have this evening? Any other
Yes.
further questions? Okay. We need to go to executive session before the regular meeting. All right. Yes. Let's recess for 5 minutes and then we will go in our regular session.
And France did beat Morocco
Yeah.
2-0.
all right, I'll go down
Just in
there.
case anybody else
It's where he did play, so.
We do it again. It's America.
All right, let's do it again. Pray with me. Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. I ask that you bless us, watch over us. I ask that we're all grateful and have grateful hearts for what our community gives to us and what we in turn give to our communities. We ask that you bless all of our workers and our citizens here in the city and everything that they do for us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Let's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Do we have anything that y'all want to take away or change on the agenda that says a special call meeting, so we can't modify? So we need an approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Very good. All right, open it up for appearance and public comment. Is anybody here to speak?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's Rick Austin, 1590 Double Springs Road. And first, I want to start off by commending you on one really nice 4th of July Independence Day celebration. I mean, that one was done extraordinarily well, and I want to thank you. As a citizen, we enjoyed it. Our son enjoyed it with us, and it was just one of those things that it was done very, very well. So thank you. I know a lot of work went into it. Y'all have worked on it for months. City workers have done it, and so thank you for that.
We didn't have anything to do with the heat.
The heat, well, look, you didn't get rain, so that's a plus. The other thing I want to do is I want to offer you some encouragement as council members. I've sat where you sit. I've sat there on a county commission. I've been in the state house. Obviously, I've been here in the role of mayor, and where you sit is not an easy place to sit. The decisions that come before you are very difficult sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to meet out, which decision way that is going to be best for our community. So I want to encourage you. You're doing a great job. I understand that litigation has been filed against the city, and while no one wants a lawsuit, I want to remind you that being sued does not mean that you are wrong. You made a legislative decision. You followed the prescribed due process, the staff review, the citizen input, and a duly recorded vote, which is what we do as local legislative bodies. Over the past several days, I've carefully reviewed the Georgia Supreme Court's decision in a case in 2017, Diversified Holdings LLP versus the City of Suwanee, which is an amazingly similar case. And I've got a copy for it. I'll leave it here so that y'all can get a copy of it. It's a rezone case that was denied for multiple reasons. The Georgia Supreme Court reaffirmed that local governments are entrusted with making difficult zoning decisions when they're based on the public health, safety, and general welfare. It specifically recognizes that cities may properly consider environmental impacts, injury to neighboring property, traffic impacts, pedestrian safety, etc., when deciding whether a rezone request should be granted or denied. Those are not abstract concepts. They are the very issues identified in staff analysis and discussed extensively during that hearing process over 2 months. The courts made a statement that I believe every local elected official should remember. This is a quote from the Georgia Supreme Court hearing ruling. When the validity of a legislative classification for zoning purposes is debatable, that judgment must be allowed to control. In other words, if reasonable people disagree, the law entrusts that decision to you, not to someone simply because they're dissatisfied with the outcome, nor the court. It's your decision, it's ours. The Supreme Court further observed it is not for this court to determine whether a city could have made a different or better zoning classification. That principle should give you confidence in light of the suit filed, and the courts have no intention of getting in the zoning business. Another observation made by the court struck me. It stated that many development challenges arise from the property's topography, and in that court case, it says topography doesn't change by its zoning classification. You can zone it whatever you want to. The hills are still going to be there. I simply, again, want you to be encouraged, reassured that the Georgia Supreme Court recognized in their decision, in that 2017 decision, that the legitimacy of the very kinds of public welfare considerations that this council, you, relied upon when it unanimously denied the rezone. I also want to recognize that the city has been sued for inverse condemnation and reportedly seek damages up to $1 million. In this court case, the 2017 that I keep citing, the Supreme Court observed, they made this observation, it had not identified any zoning case, no zoning case in which a party claiming inverse condemnation had received a takings remedy in the form of financial damages. No case in the state of Georgia when they've said it's an inverse condemnation has received a dime. None, the Georgia Supreme Court said. Now, that doesn't mean that, this one would be different. While every lawsuit is different, it must be decided on its own merits. I hope that observation by the court gives this council confidence that the court, Georgia's highest court, has recognized the strong legal footing that local governments, you, have in making informed zoning decisions. That's what you did. I commend you for it. Thank you for your strength. And again, be encouraged. Governments get sued all the time. You did your due process right. You had your hearings right, and you made a decision that was a very hard decision. But that's what local governments do, and I'm proud of you. Thank you. I'll leave a copy of that case.
Anybody else for public comment? I would like to speak for a minute on the 4th of July, the staff and everybody's pitch in from the police department to everybody from City Hall, Mark and Megan, and all the council members and all y'all's work that y'all put in to make that a great day, make that a great day for me and my family, and a great day for our community. So I appreciate everybody's involvement. Thank you very much.
I would like to add to that being April, Rhonda, and Medley. That holds our whole staff there in City Hall are just game changers.
Andrew did a lot of work that day too.
Fantastic music, starting with the DJ, to Dave Anderson, to the band. You got a lot of pressure for next year. We did good, very good last year. So if you've gone 3 years, really it's been 4 years, didn't it? And each year we've gotten better and better. So I just can't wait to see what you do, Andrew, with your assistant, John.
Yeah. I would like to say this, it never ceases to amaze me that we can have that big a crowd downtown slinging candy by the pound. And and you get up the next day and you come through town and it just looks like the next day. I mean, there's no trash, it blows my mind that they can clean that up that fast.
Well, let me tell you how fast it was. Brian and his crew showed up at 6 a.m., probably 15 of them, 3.5 hours. They closed the street from down here and they walk 5 and 6 wide in a single line, blowing. And that's how they get that part done. But being that what took the longest of that 3.5 hours was an hour and a half from the firework shooting, because it's little bitty pieces of cardboard and other pieces. That took them the longest.
That's fantastic.
And when I came through, no, you couldn't see a thing.
I appreciate that so much. How does it get done except by people that care to get it done?
And it was done on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So
Patty and I rode through here, she made comments like, it never even happened, you know?
I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I appreciated the band too, when we found out that, the fireworks are gonna be delayed until 10 o'clock. That actually 3 of the members came back and played the last song. They did not have to do that. But they were appreciative of how everybody treated them. So, and the crowd as well. So they came back to fill in some of that time.
contract was 120 minutes.
Yeah, so they didn't have to do what they did. But
They said that over and over again.
Yeah.
Everyone who was so polite to them, it made them feel better about this area. They kept saying, we do this over and over, all the time, festivals, and you guys are the nicest. So.
That's awesome. All right, no other comments, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. I believe these were emailed out to y'all from June 2nd. Do we have any changes to those minutes? None, we'll entertain a motion to approve them.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor? Very good. Next up is consideration of the GoGov contract. We talked about this for 3 months, renegotiated again today. Council, how would y'all like to proceed?
Before I do that, does anybody in the public have any comments about what's been, I mean, we talked about it 3 months. Y'all have any comments about what y'all think? You think it would be useful? Bonnie, no? I have an opinion. Well, I'm talking about as far as the app, as far as notifications. Are y'all signed up with Nixle right now?
You get texts from the city about mold water or anything like that.
Okay, so it's not gonna be more like things on Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah, we still do that, but not everybody uses social media, so.
nothing's being taken away. It's just an addition,
So, and.
other than Nixle.
Nixle and eventually,
So it just gives you all sorts of notifications about.
yeah.
And you can report things straight to the city.
Yeah, it'd be more, correct me if I'm wrong, but it would be more notifications being sent out about things than what Nixle currently does. So
Nixle restricts it.
yeah, so we can push out notifications of like, for example, a council meeting, special call meeting, something happened.
Road closure specifically.
Yeah.
And say, mold water is for this area in this mountain.
That also, Rick, Jennifer, you got it?
More information is always good, and the more you inform everybody out there, that's, I'm really in favor of it. I mean, this is great, you get 3 transformers, and you get full water, and that's about all you can get out of this. That's anyway. It just broadens it, says, hey, it's a reminder, we've got to be in person, I said, it's like this week. Then you got more people sitting here because all of a sudden somebody's going to be up on one road, not because y'all failed, but because they think it's what they drop off the rail.
I think it's useful too, but like I said, I think that we do need to have some kind of educational campaign, ongoing, especially for those people that might not be on or smartphone savvy to this, to kind of help them initially do this if we pass this. That'd be my only qualification. Yeah.
With GoGov, what happened in the morning.
We'll entertain a motion to table it again, vote it down, or to move forward with whichever the 2 contracts you have.
It's July 9th. I'll make a motion to accept the GoGov contract for July 9th.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor to move forward with the July 9th contract?
Thank you.
We'll be maintaining this. Them?
They do.
They will.
All right, next is consideration to approve the 2-load booster pump.
This is budgeted for, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If you got a motion on the table.
All right, sorry, I didn't hear that
And
motion.
you did.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Next, we need a ratification of emergency purchase of a trailer for the water department. Council, how would y'all like to move forward with that vote?
I make a motion to approve, the emergency purchase, for the trailer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Very good, thank you. Next is consideration of the cemetery set of rules. Council, do y'all have anything y'all would like to add or take away from this set of rules?
Is this just administrative? Okay, so no vote.
Well, no, y'all need to approve the rules.
We do need.
Yeah, but it'll be handled administrative.
I'll make a motion that we approve the new rules for the cemetery, in Demorest City.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor to move forward with that?
Thank you. Reminder for everybody, make sure your wills are updated, especially if you do have a cemetery plot, or any extra, so that you don't get into this circumstance.
Next up is consideration of an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Clarksville with Clerk of Court Services. We have a motion to enter into that agreement.
I'll make a motion that we enter into that agreement.
Thank you, sir. A second? All those in favor? Very good. We heard about floss. This is a consideration for us to move into that IGA with the county and move this forward to go on the ballot for the citizens to choose. Council, how would y'all like to move forward to allow this resolution to pass?
I just want to remind my fellow elected officials that, you know, we are limited as far as what we can say, you know, our opinions to the public. We can educate, not say vote one way or another. But in that regards, I'll make a motion to authorize our mayor to execute this IGA.
Thank you, sir. We have a second. I'll second. Thank you. All those in favor to move forward with this? Thank you. Next, consideration for adding uses to the exhibit table. This is the same table that we put on that Pilates to. Council, do y'all have any other modifications to this?
I do not. I don't know if anybody else does. If we don't have anything, we don't have anything to vote on.
Correct. But if you think of something, we need to get it on there. You know, if business comes in, it takes 3 months to get through that process.
Right, and like I said, during the work session, I observed the right that if we encounter such a situation as we had with the Pilates, that we can go back and revisit. You kind of read it. Those.
Next is consideration of the Tallulah Falls wholesale water rate. This is directly due to COA's water rate increase. Pass along again. Council, we need a vote to increase Tallulah Falls' water rate.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Good.
Well done, you got family in Little Falls.
But I'm not getting into color on top of it.
On the agenda is consideration of the RFP for the parking lot. We don't need to vote on this. This is just giving us the information that the RFP is going to be advertised out, and we will see those bids come in on which date? August
21st at 11 a.m.
is the bid. Okay.
45 days from tomorrow.
From that day, it'll come back to council to vote and approve on the recommended bid that comes in. Any questions? All right, next up is manager's report. Mark, what do you have for us?
We go over a few items first here. We completed our LMIG paving last week. They'll be coming back the second week of August to restripe some of the streets, Holly, Double Springs, where it's been worn off. And then that same week of August 2nd, that is when they will do LMIG number 2. And while we're talking about LMIG, I received in the mail yesterday LBID for 2027 from DOT. And round numbers is $45,000, and we have a 30% match to that, so roughly $14,000 will be added, so we'll be pushing $58,000 for 2027 on that one.
So there's no second.
Not at this point in time. They wouldn't do that until the session. So that's typically what we find out in that one. Brian and I met with Consolidated Pipe this week, and we're preparing our plans for our meter replacement. As you know, we replaced all the meters after 2015, and so 10 years is when your warranty runs out on the meters. Their lifespan is 20 years. But remember, your water meter is your cash register. Your cash register needs to be 100% accurate for us and for the water user. And that's going to put us, what we did before was all of them were done at one time. What that means is all of them come due at one time. And so we're going to spread this out starting, if y'all approve this plan in September. So, you know, there's 7,200 water meters out there. You do the math times, if you do the math, if we do the meter and I want the meter to have the technology to be turned off right here in the office, it's about $600 a meter. If I want the technology for it to download every day in here, it's $400 for the meter. If I want the same technology that we have now, that we have meters that have to drive past each one of them with a Bluetooth type technology, it's $250. Now, Brian and his guys can install these. It just take them a little bit longer than a normal company coming in here with the whole troop. So we'll hear more about that coming in our September meeting when they come and we're presenting the plan of action. You will hear next month a presentation on calibrating our meters. And what that is proving to the customer the meters are accurate. We want to start with our largest customers. Remember, we've got water rates on the meter size, and there's 138 of them. If all this goes through and everything comes through, we'll be hearing about this in August. That's a very good way to show this. I will remind y'all that the post office postage stamp is going to 82 cents on Sunday or Monday. What that does, it will affect our billing cost with InfoSend. So they've already sent out their notices going into effect next week that our prices will be increasing because postage will be increasing. It's going from 77 cents to 82 cents. So it's a nickel. But when you send out 7,200 mailings, it has an effect.
Every month.
Every month. Tell you all about the success of DCIC in our courts. If y'all recall, back in March, we had approximately $90,000 in past due accounts over 91 days. Today, I've got $1,278 over 91 days. And that check was supposed to be received any day. So, we did have to write off about, I want to say about $8,000. We don't do business with these three accounts out of that, so that everything else has been collected by Rachel and Amy, and everything is moving perfectly as we speak. I get reports from Rachel and Amy about every 3 days on the aging reports. You see the money coming in, the money being deposited into the general fund, and we are actually making money and having a positive cash flow. And the reason we weren't is because nobody was doing collections prior to, and we had those $92,000 in losses. And so the whole process of that has been revamped, and it is working very well with that. In courts, y'all will recall that we had $219,000 outstanding fines, penalties, etc. from 2000 and January 1 of 2001 to current. We sent out an amnesty letter saying if you come in July, we'll cut out the fees, the late fees, things of that sort. And Sam has collected $30,000 so far. And she was not in court yesterday. So, well, day before yesterday, no, yesterday. So she moved some of these people to September, August and September because they were contacting her. So they're still following in that amnesty letter. I will tell you at 1 o'clock yesterday, there was one handicap parking space and one other space in this parking lot right here. Because there were that many people in here. And when Sam and I interviewed with our auditors, they asked questions. Well, tell us what's been your success rate, where she's at. And I'm not going to quote her number there. Everybody, you think you'll get 30%? Here in Denver, she says, I feel very confident we'll be nearing that total. I'm not going to say a number, but they were shocked by that. And again, this came up in April, so it was May and June, and she's collected $30,000. So that system was broken. We didn't know it, but we know it now, and it is working very well back there. And James and Casey helped with both of these projects, and I'm pleased to see all of our quick action really turned that around. So, and congratulations to the hard work of those ladies there. With that, we'll go over the financials, and tell you what, we'll open up courts. Y'all have that one in yours, and this is just a quick and dirty cash flow, monthly cash flow. You can see year to date through May, it's made 27. That net income of almost $28,000. In GCIC, that in May 31st, we have a net income of almost $18,000. We wouldn't have seen these type of numbers last year because of no collections. We were doing the work, but we weren't collecting it, and those companies weren't willing to pay. So it's a new day now. Go to the financial section. I like to have my hard copy of this for me to go off of this. And so with this on the first page here, and this is dated May 31st, but our cash balances are up to July 1st, 2026. So the first round of numbers will be May 31st. The second round will be July 1st. You can see in here, total general fund operating of 196, and currently it's $258,000. Loss total was 679,000, and now it's 702. That's because we had a $36,245,000 deposit June 16th. And our average for our budget is $30,675. So if we can keep hitting an extra $6,000 to $10,000 a month, that will put us about $100,000 over our budgeted amount. Overall cash is 4.5, and total cash today is right at 4.9. So we're gonna call that $5 million in total cash. And you'll see under the operating cash, the actual balance did not go negative, but it's when they take it, it go ahead and subtract the checks that we've written out. Last month, Sean asked to start maintaining $50,000 plus in that account, and we started doing that. Again, That's the difference. It is not a negative, actual cash account. Total operating cash is $1,048,000, and, as of today, it's $1,475,000. One of the things that I'm very proud of is when you go down to the bottom, you see our number of months of liquidity based on total cash. We are now at 4.9 months. That means I am just shy of 5 months of total liquid cash. The goal is 3 months to 6 months. And so the management of our funds.
You ever hit 5 since you've been here?
No, we were down to 2. And I can go back. That's an interesting question to go back and look at that.
I didn't have to expand on that.
Well, but that was a good
I just wanted
point.
to point it out.
Because somebody made the point to put on here the running totals. And you can see June of 25, we had 3.91. So we've improved one whole percentage there in 12 months. So that, I'm very proud of that number there. Same page, our expenses are in line, our monthly. The 4th page here talks about our revenue. Our revenue for the general fund for the month of May is $69,500. You know, so we've got some, you can see right in here. How about this? In GCIC collected $28,000 in the month of May. So fines and forfeitures was $13,000. So now to cover that, we had total expenses of $174,000, and we transferred right at $96,832, which keeps me on budget. My budget amount is like $110 a month, so we were under budget on that amount. The 5th page here is our operating expenses and income from the water, sewer. Bottom line is our operating income for the month of May, being income minus expenses, is $327,000, or almost $1.4 million year to date for the 5 months. When you look at the 6th page, when you look at the monthly amounts in our budgets, we are dead set at about 8.7 million, and we're our total revenue is 8.9. So we're just behind the tad on that. Expenses, we are well ahead and below where we should be at this time with expenses. So everything that we're doing in that area is working extremely well. The last page is SPLOST. You will see SPLOST 6 have a different number because that's where we took out some money for some other expenses on that, because my plan is to use the water and sewer on these updates, just like the roads there, so we can zero out SPLOST 6, and then because the new one will start April 1st for SPLOST 8, and that would just have the remnants of SPLOST 7 going forward, and 6 would be zeroed out. On Fletcher's reports, water and sewer are both operating within their limits, and police department had 315 calls for the month, with 7 domestic violence calls, 1 physical and 6 verbal. Officers responded to 9 accidents and completed 5 accident reports. Officers performed 102 traffic stops and issued 41 citations. That's at a 41% ticket ratio to a warning. Officers completed 11 incident reports, and officers completed 36 hours of training. One of the things I asked Casey to do was give me some community events. The officers, along with myself, Megan, we cooked hamburgers and hot dogs for the Demorest 5th grade class right before they got out of school as a congratulations that they'd be moving up, and it was well attended, and those kids were very happy about that. We also had Chief Minatella, Assistant Chief, graduate from the Certified Public Manager class back in May, where he joins Casey, Megan, and myself with those certificates of accomplishments there. So that was 300 hours of class in 9 months. Casey and James met with the fourth grade class and provided snacks to the first responders where the class did that. I also attended Piedmont graduation where our intern, Erin Irving, graduated back in May. So she is doing well. I spoke to her about a week ago.
She learned to call the dogs.
She knows she's learning a lot on it. She is ready for August, and she said she is ordering tickets to hopefully be there. On Brian's report, he had 4 emergency locates. He had 244 locates total. Work orders were 371. We had 4 leaks, and the water loss is 566,000 gallons. They set 22 new meter sets, so that's 22 times 3,080. That is in our water extension for meter sales, and that count has gone over $500,000 now. For Baldwin, we had 45 million gallons, and says Garrison well, but maybe that one must be in the wrong total, but it's 5.7 million, and it's not under Tacoma. So I'm gonna go with that's really Tacoma's. We need to check that, because Mize Road didn't have its numbers there either. That being the case, you're looking at right at 51 million gallons of water sold in the month of May. We've been fire hydrants, Edwin started back over in April, and he has completed 501 of the 1,800 that he's got to go. So there's a lot of job security in that job, as you see the nice looking fire hydrants being maintained now, going on its second year like that. Fire department. Chief Adams sent us a report where they had 8 fire calls, 45 EMS calls with average response time of 2.32 seconds. And we had 100% of coverage in the station on the fire engine. So before, back in February and March, we had 4 or 5 days each month where they just had the driver, but they graduated their class from fire school, and he is excited that they had double shift. One time here, they had a couple hours where that was not covered like that. So it was like 2 or 3 hours for these 2 different days there. So he says that on the response time, ISO requires 520 seconds or 8 minutes and 40 seconds or less to a structure fire. Any response time greater than 4 minutes warrants an explanation by his officers. And so they're definitely doing what they need to do on that side. So they've been very well pleased. That being said, I'm just going to talk about for a second on the 4th of July again. I appreciate all the comments from staff and all the hard work they put into this. And we will have our debriefing meetings tomorrow to go over the pros, the cons, and if anybody has a suggestion, we'd like to hear from you. And the interesting thing for next year, yeah, I'll talk to God about that and see how we can work on that. But it is July, and we should be in those kind of temperatures. But here's the key for next year, guys. July 4th is Sunday. Now, some people have suggested moving to Saturday. Some people have said, heck no, keep it on Sunday and move the parade till 4 o'clock. So we'll have to be making some decisions on how we're gonna handle that, Mr. Mayor, correct?
That's right.
So, so it doesn't matter what day we do it, it's gonna be hot. And as long as, like Rich said, as long as we get by without the rain, that's the safest part. And, but it really was a great time. Fireworks, the music, the attendance, the parade. So thanks to everybody for that and all their hard work.
Thanks.
I'm done.
All right. Open it back up for appearance and public comment. Anybody else like to speak? If none, I believe we have a few things to go into executive session for. Thomas, what are those things?
Litigation, real estate, and personnel.
Okay. We need a motion to go into executive session for the items mentioned.
Make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank y'all for coming out.
It's really